We're both recording.
Well,
Okay, hi, welcome back. We have a live studio audience again, plus the mower.
so the teaser of why and how we landed here, the podcast, Schmack Talking,
Yes.
and like we like to push ourselves in learning and growing, calling
Yes.
each other on it. We're like, are we gonna do this?
And here we are.
And here we are. So one of the first things though that we, on the podcast journey, besides all the, getting stuff lined up,
Yeah.
was, we really gonna do this? We're probably gonna need like some improv.
Oh no, yes.
Like, we don't know what we're doing and what is improv. And so I searched up improv, and thankfully the class was booked out until September or something. I don't know about you, but I was like, oh God, we can kick that can.
I know, I was like, thank God. I'm like, we do not have to do this. I'm like, it is so unnecessary, like, absolutely ridiculous.
So that would be the weaker part of us that was talking there.
Yeah.
Because we both had like, I call it the giggle energy in the tummy.
Yeah.
That was scary to go try improv. So a series of events got us actually into an improv class.
I think it was a good way to introduce it too, because it ended up being very like low key.
Yeah.
So I feel like best case scenario came out of that, but go on.
Yeah, I mean, we learned at that improv class that so few people actually even do improv.
Yeah.
And so it taught us a couple of shticks of how this kind of works.
Yeah.
Built the confidence that we're here.
And then of course they're all like, all of the people there were like, you have to do it. You have to do it. Like, you guys have the personality for it. Whatever. The bickering, the banter, whatever.
And so we're here.
Yes.
So today's first topic was really, got my notes and my glasses.
She's showing her age. She has her notes and I have my phone. Like, so what are we at?
And that's the kind of banter that goes on. Do you have your eyes on? Yeah, they do. They're right here. So the
Mine
topic.
deleted.
Your little list.
Oh no, just kidding. Hi.
Old school.
It's better. Because I seriously thought it deleted. I was like, are you freaking kidding me?
Old school. See, these are just some of the differences you're gonna see. Let's come right on through. Okay. So the first topic was what?
Bringing boyfriends and girlfriends home and kind of what that all entails from both perspectives, I would say.
So I didn't know you were coming.
Yeah. You're like, you specifically had no idea. You knew of me.
I knew of this girl.
This beautiful, gorgeous, phenomenal girl.
That's all I knew. That's all I knew. I had a new puppy, so I was a little preoccupied with that, I'm sure.
Yeah.
And other things in life.
Yeah.
And then,
And I had no idea you were going to be here when I met you for the first time. So I feel like that sets it up for success. Not, like, absolutely not.
well, and it definitely helped having a third thing to kind of focus on, the puppy.
Agreed.
Yeah, so we made it through that.
Yes.
What was, I think all generations kind of share that awkwardness of meeting mom.
Yeah. Do
And
you
is
remember
it,
meeting
and
them?
is it mom first or is it dad?
Oh, always mom.
Always mom.
It has to be mom.
I agree. My experiences, my lived experiences were that.
Always. I don't think I've ever met like a man, like a dad first.
Always mom.
Or ever heard of anyone doing that in my age group. It's always like, oh, meet the parents, or oh, you have to meet my mom. Or like, for me, it's always like, I have to tell my mom.
And is it because it's easier from the girl meeting, right? We don't know from the boy. We can't speak from the boy's side.
But even from like me being a girl bringing like boys home, I feel like it's always like my mom. My dad is very like kept to himself at first. So maybe that's part of the thing. Then my mom's like, opinions right now, get them out there. Maybe it's like, is it worth
Wi-
meeting dad?
So the women are judgier.
Yeah.
They're the gate.
Yep. We need to knock that off, but yeah. It's like that first impressions thing. I feel like it matters more with the mom.
Yeah, I see. Now I looked at it from a comfort side. Like it was just motions and nurturing were more on the gender mom side.
Yeah.
So that's why I thought the pathway in, would be.
Well, what would be your first, like, ideal time to meet one of your son's girlfriends? Is it like it was with me, where it's the first date, or would it be?
That was your first date?
Yeah.
To
We
come
weren't
see
even
the
dating.
puppy?
Yeah.
Okay.
Or would it be a couple months down the line when it has more depth to it?
Couple months down the line.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Make sure what you're bringing home to mama, I should be spending some energy with.
Well, that's the thing. I'm like, why did I meet you the first? Like, why do we think that was normal? Is what I don't understand. But
And
like, it went fine. I feel, but I feel like, yeah, it would definitely be like I would rather build a connection with the person and then meet them. And then you're setting yourself up for a better first impressions, I think. And also, how much do you think first impressions matter?
Oh, I think we as society put too much pressure on first impressions, regardless. Boyfriend, girlfriends, business, too much on that.
Yeah.
And it goes to the judging thing, right? That's what the first impression is.
Yeah.
And so it's not that authentic person that's coming through. They're uncomfortable. They're coming through with nerves. It's not a fair thing. So the world says first impressions are important. I think there's more, beyond that. Like, whatever. I met them. They weren't having a good day. I wasn't having a good day, especially if you didn't know that.
Yeah.
What was going on. But that might be as you mature in life.
Yeah.
You see it that way.
I mean, I don't know, because I feel like I agree with that. Like, I feel like I will say the first couple seconds you judge the person, but I feel like they still have a time to redeem themselves. Like, if you're speaking to them for an hour, you're probably going to have a different...
I might have a worse impression.
Right, like better or worse impression.
When they come into your house and they right away drop the F-bomb and you're like, oh!
You're like, fuck no, get this bit out of here. I go, hell no.
That was probably one of the first, and it wasn't a negative. It was just like,
oh, wow.
Yeah. I think.
Do you think it was this girl saying it, or is it me specifically saying it? Because I think I've gotten both responses to that.
Oh, I just don't think society view that word very strongly.
Yeah.
We can say shit, we can say damn, we can say hell, but for whatever reason, if you drop the F-bomb and it's coming out of a woman's mouth,
oh yeah,
it's very like that, right?
Yeah.
And I have different views on that as far as where it belongs, but it's in language. Language is powerful. You encountered that in the workforce as well. Our language is powerful, but
Yeah.
so can it be a distraction on the first impression? Well, it just definitely made me sit up a little bit. Like,
Yeah.
whoa, okay, she's a handful.
Right.
And then that is you, but that is you.
Right.
Energetic.
I do think, yeah, now that you've gotten
Forthright.
to know me, you can see that it's not that I'm swearing at anyone. I think I do it for like the laugh. Like, it's funnier when you say F this or
Yeah.
whatever it is. So I feel like that's where I always come from. And I am not very good at filtering myself. But also, I don't think I would want to. Like, come into your guys' house and just be like super shy, not saying absolutely anything. Like, that's just not me.
I very much appreciate the authentic,
Yeah.
because then I know how I'm navigating, right? It's not
Yeah.
a guessing game.
Yeah.
So if that authenticness was something that causes a rub, well, then that's on me to figure that out.
True.
But I would much rather deal with somebody who's authentic, forthright, right up front.
Yeah.
And I think that allowed the Tellallbench conversations because there's authentic, no gaming.
Yeah.
And that's, I think, what allowed the deep conversations and growing that we did together was we can bicker and say it directly versus hold this tension in and run it through the partners,
Yeah.
aka the boy from back to mom, blah, 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 right? Like we can have those type of direct conversations. So
Agreed.
first impressions for us, they're everywhere.
Yeah.
But I do think there's a generational difference. My generation was probably a lot more concerned about that impression and proper.
Yeah. Putting on like almost like the best foot forward
Absolutely.
situation.
And it was the Mr. and Mrs. You didn't like call them by their first name.
Yeah.
Whereas my generation to yours, I think we kind of pulled away from, please don't call me Mrs.,
Yeah.
right? Call me Jen.
Yeah.
And so I think that there was a generational difference there right away. So we
Yeah.
kind of encouraged your authenticity.
My F-bombs.
But I don't know that we anticipated that type of authenticity.
But then it's like, look at us now. I got all y'all to be swearing peoples.
It is contagious, and
Because it's funny.
and we have to keep it in check sometimes. You know, like when we're at a family pool. Family pool.
That's a topic for a different day. Because I don't agree with that, but we can argue about it right
See,
now if you want.
that's where we kind of navigated a little bit, right? Between the generations.
Yep.
Versus personality, and that's one thing that we want to explore. Is it really a generational difference,
Yeah.
or a personality? You could do better growth on both sides,
Yeah.
right? Because there's topics that this generation can do better on,
Yeah.
and let's not just sweep it. And there are topics on your generation that no, you can just up your game.
Yeah.
Don't be hiding behind it's generational, right?
That's true.
Okay. So yeah, first impressions. It goes on. It wasn't just that. I noticed the nails. I noticed the girly girl.
Yeah.
Right. So girly girl and semi girly girl.
I was going to say Miss Nails, Miss Earrings.
Semi girly girl. So we've had conversations about that. Are we girl? I mean, let's talk about that energy wise. Girl, and then girl boy energy.
Yeah.
And I would probably lean towards girl boy.
Yeah.
Through tomboy. See, that was thing too. If you talk tomboy, she's like, you can't say that. That's like
Yeah,
a
it just
bad
doesn't
thing.
feel. Yeah, I feel like we like canceled that for some reason.
And grew up with that.
Yeah.
So we had
It's like
that.
girly girl and tomboy, but then it's like, I think it's just better to say girl boy and girl girl.
So we ironically have a blend of both.
Both of us, yeah.
And I think that
I think you're just majority girl boy and I'm majority girl girl, but then we both overlap in the middle at some points. Because I'll take a worm off of a hook.
Yep, and I won't. Or you'll take a fish off of a
Yeah.
hook, and I'll put my foot on it gently.
Yeah, that's so naughty. Yeah, that's not how you do it. But whatever.
And that's where we kind of help each other grow and challenge each other.
Yeah.
Like, I think the boy side competition is, I'm generalizing here, but we can bring that out in each other. Like, we got this, and not let that girly girl, like, oh, I can't do it. Like, we challenge each other to,
Yeah.
kind of step up there. So then that girly girl boy, right? Having just sons, not having a girl, this close.
Yeah.
That was a little uncomfortable
Yeah.
because y'all, I know me, but
I would hope so.
that girly girl was a little bit of, wow, this is what it's like having girls around you all the time. Did you ever feel that? Where I was like,
I feel like I say like things now where it's like, oh, I want her to experience this because now she's a girl. And I feel like it was like when talking about like stuff from childhood with like you with the boys versus like me growing up. I'm like, you've never heard of that before? I'm like,
Yep.
what do you mean?
No, that's a whole new world.
Yeah. So I feel like that's where I noticed it. And I was like, okay, yeah. And I think when I first met you versus now, the emotional side has come out more. And maybe that's just because you're more comfortable with me. But I feel like women tend to be more emotional. And I'm a very emotional person. So I feel like that's where we like differed at first, too. Where you were like hard as a rock and I was like a melty, mushy mess. And now we're kind of both in the middle.
There could be lots of reasons for that.
We can get into that another day, too.
Those will be other topics. As womanhood and life events kind
Yeah.
of change that, right? I know I appreciated the girly side. We have a tradition of this cookie decorating. And decorating with homemade frosting. I was trying something different that I wanted to explore, and it wasn't working out as such.
Now he is fucking
Now
leaf
we
blowing.
have a leaf blower going on, so I hope you can hear us, or we'll be back for episode 2, 3.
Two more.
I don't know. Really, it's a neighborhood hopping out here.
It really is. Like, since when do people go outside?
Okay, so back to the cookie decorating, and,
Yeah.
and the boys, and they make everything a competition, like even decorating cookies. And I was trying to put in this new recipe, new way of doing things, and it wasn't working out. And I was about to lose my shit. And Courtney picked up on that and right away, like, dove in.
Yeah.
And I'm more methodical, logical analyzer. And she was just like, well, we just need some more water and we need some more sugar. More water! And just dove right in. And to be quite honest, kind of saved the event as I turned around almost in tears because it
You were
was
just
an
so
emotional state
yeah.
and I was just,
Frustrated, and it wasn't working. And I feel like me taking over was something that the boys just weren't gonna do, because they
don't
didn't
do that
see
part
it.
of
They
it.
were too
Yeah.
busy competing.
Yeah.
Where I was like, I keep hitting my mic, but I was just like, okay, I see what's happening. Like, let's get in. Let's fix the issue. I'm like, let me do it. It's fine. You take a second.
and that's where I started to recognize what I'm gonna learn from you.
Yeah.
I don't know if you knew that.
No. I still don't know
I might
that.
get emotional.
No, not today.
Not today. The creative, the just willingness to jump in.
Yeah.
The creative, the willingness to jump in. I'm more of the logical, analytical. I look at the whole thing and then I make my decision, and then I will join. I will recreate, but she's a creator.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, I'm gonna learn from her and grow on that lens. That's the right brain, and I'm the left brain, logical.
I think it's the opposite of that.
That'll be homework.
I was gonna say,
In
we
case
gotta
you
Google
know
that.
what that is. Homework.
I'm
when,
like, Siri.
when we go like this and we're like, I don't know that's right. So then one of us gets homework to do and then comes back. So we've kind of created our own.
She's good at giving me homework, but whatever, it's fine.
When was the last homework I gave you? Oh, just now.
Making our art for the podcast.
Oh, that was breaking up tasks that needed to be done. See, she's going to learn that from me.
I just do it as I please.
Okay, so the impressions, how we got through that, I don't really feel like the generational thing came into play. It was just kind of respecting each other as two women.
And having just a woman in your life, I think, was different.
Yeah. And at that same time, I was losing my mom. So that's probably what the emotions started to come through a little bit more on me.
I feel like, too, like, I mean, maybe I didn't help, but I feel like it was like, no, you can cry. Like, you can be sad. And I'm always like, you could just feel it. I don't know.
Yeah, so we grew together. We started learning what we have in common. I think there was a connection through the nails that we started to include each other into. instead of shutting each other out and just having this surface
Yeah.
relationship, because we can have that, we started growing and teaching and learning and open dialogues and challenging each other and schmack talking with each other. That got us in trouble because we're here doing a podcast because of the schmack talk.
No, literally.
So,
Are we going to talk about this, or is that for next week? Our
I-
next episode?
I think that's the next episode. So we'll start with like our first impressions. We got through that, and now the relationship kind of progresses. So
Yeah.
on both
How
levels.
did we end up getting this close? Because that's a sore topic. I'm just kidding.
I'm confused. So, anyways, a little jingle that we were always going to go out on.
If you don't know, you won't go. Wait.
I have no idea why everybody gets this wrong. If you don't
Go, then you don't.
you won't know.
Then you won't know. Wait, do it again. If you don't go, then
you won't
But-
know.
No, then?
There's no then.
Okay. If you don't go, you won't know.
There you go. We'll
Bye.
see you next time.
Love you.
Okay. Stop the recording.
Wait, you gotta stop it on here.